Hello and welcome into SorareData Office Hours, episode 19, I believe. If we count last week with Dan. Man, was that only last week? It was only last week.
Yeah.
Last week with Dan, we were talking a little bit how there'll be an announcement of the cash wallet. Maxime, we got the cash wallet. How you feeling?
I don't have it, so I can't say. Let me refresh, but yeah, I feel insulted. They should progressively roll out features based on the inscription date and not like some random stuff. I am an OG. I deserve to know what's going on.
It does feel like every time they progressively release stuff, I'm always last. Like I assume it's like by location, and so like all of you French guys get it first, and then they expand a little bit out from Europe, and eventually I'm just the last one to get it. To be honest, it's exactly how I feel every time they say everything is available for everyone. That will progressively release to everybody.
Is this me, or that was like kind of weird to say it's out but not yet?
It's exactly the feeling I got, and I'll be honest, Black gave me shit for thinking that way. He was like, no, you gotta just trust the team, it'll get there. Oh, here he is. See, boo-hoo, cry more, guys.
No,
yeah, I mean, he doesn't care, he trusts it. But yeah,
I can't say bad things.
I'm still waiting.
I can't say bad things about Andy, so I will just say, yeah, you're right, Andy. We'll try not to cry today.
We will try, but who knows what the cash wallet will do to us. That's right, Vita. It's live for all, but you'll have it one at a time. Yeah, see, it's
I mean, so from what I understand, you will need basically for pretty much anything that you want to do with the cash wallet, except listing cards, which is something that is useless if you list cards but you don't get the money. You will need to KYC, right? And how do you feel about that?
I understand why people really dislike it. I've never been like against KYC. I'm fully in the I have nothing to hide camp, which is the very obnoxious way to respond to people who are against KYC. But I've yet to have anyone explain to me why KYC is bad for me, other than the fact that I'll get a tax bill at some point, which is funny to think that I'm actually profiting here.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm in the team. What took you so long? Let's say.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, to be honest, I don't understand why it's coming today. I do not understand why it did not come before that date. I mean, I just like. So let me say, let me elaborate on this. It's like, in my opinion, well, in my imagination, let's say, I thought ETH was there because of regulatory issues, right? Like it's NFTs, so it's with ETH, not with cash. So and it just like that, it's with any kind of currency, like the top 3 currencies in the world, and ETH. And I mean, I just I don't understand. And I mean, it's great. It's great for the platform UPC. I think that I didn't experience the KYC process or the deposit process yet, but from what I understand and from what I hear, is it's pretty simple. So I mean, that's one more milestone checked. I mean, it's now that the cash wallet is here. What's the next box to check for Sorare in order to go full mainstream? I'm not even sure about that.
I'll answer your question because I have the answer. But before, Vita was saying, Andrew and Laird's easy for the tax office to spot, but Vitaly and Chani sport a bit less so. That's why I use Lairdinho. No one will ever know that that's me. That's what I'm hiding. But hold on, there was a very informative Twitter or tweet. Let me find it here because that has all the answers. And it came from the person you would expect all of the answers from about Sorare to come. Let me see. There's like 1,000 retweets here. Here we go. Let me share it. This is really good listening for everybody as opposed to watching here or just watching me go around on my computer. Here it is. Mobile and then marketing. That's what's next. Soon, even.
Yeah, I mean, so let's like deep.
What's the problem?
Let's dive on this tweet. I mean, I kind of laugh at the mobile item because it's been quite some time since they said mobile was their big like their big thing they had to deliver on. And yeah, it's been like, I don't know, a year now that the mobile app is out, and obviously it didn't meet the success that they probably thought it would. But with mobile, he's implying that the new game, the Sorare Daily, or I don't know, the kickoff game whatsoever, is going to be a big thing. So that remains to be seen. But obviously, like trying new things and trying to reach out to different people, also while speaking to your current user base, is something very interesting to do. And marketing, I mean, you have to do mobile first in order to do marketing. And I think that mobile also includes one thing that does not depend on Sorare, is selling NFTs on a mobile app.
We'll get there.
And yeah, I think we're closer than ever, I guess. And so that's going to be pretty interesting to see if that's something that they announce soon. But yeah, I mean, it's impressive to see that we are finally to that cash wallet system. We're probably out of the woods in terms of regulation, at least from what I'm hearing from press articles and from what I'm understanding. So I mean, it's a pretty exciting time with Champion Europe back in like a week. FC Nantes playing its first game, because everybody like is dying to see Nantes play next Sunday, obviously Sunday 13. So it's great that they also met the deadline that they set for themselves. I mean, it's not a easy project to release. A cash wallet is like, you touch at every critical aspect of Sorare by doing that. And so let's wait for a few days until like declaring total success. But obviously, big props to the team and to what they've done so far.
I think they're just taking applause for what they're doing. Don't worry. They're not expecting all of us to celebrate now. We'll progressively do it. But I think the mobile is actually part of the marketing. And I don't know if they are doing this on purpose. I want to believe they are. But I think the mobile daily game, whatever they're going to use, is actually just part of the marketing effort. That I don't think the mobile game is going to be used to bring people to the fantasy game that we play with purchased cards and everything. I think it's just another way for them to get the Sorare name out there. And it's a free game. And then you can get people to be like, oh, Sorare also have these products, and we just go from there. Like I think there was an expectation that this new game would be like, oh, that's the first step. And then you play the amateur, and then you play. And I think it's actually more just, hey, Sorare does these cool fantasy games. Here's one. And that's just what gets people to be at least more knowledgeable that Sorare exists as a company.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can actually make sure that people think of Sorare when they actually watch a football game, that would be great. Sorry, I was just like, I received a notification from the SorareData app saying that Brian Ainen from Genk has subbed off injured. I think it coincides with a red card for Enzo Crivelli from Servette. So I think that he probably demolished Anan. So if anyone is watching the game, please report on that. He was my captain of my gang stack, so I'm pretty pissed off right now.
That's not fun at all.
let me sub. Please, I want subs. No, but like for players being subbed off for injuries, that should be something, right?
Now you have guys faking injuries because they know that their SO5 points are going to be affected by it. I want to go back.
Just is saying looked bad, went off on stretcher, ankle breaker tackle. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Anyway, there was a comment. Where did that go? It was back to the KYC thing. That's what I wanted to bring up. Here we go. Sorare Teacher said the Web3 community in general is against KYC due to the whole concept of decentralization, but the fact of the matter is it will just make scaling easier by opening more payment methods. Is it seem that it's actually more likely that Sorare had no interest in KYC, but it's Mango Pay that's actually making them do it?
Yeah, a lot of things here. I think like going back on the comment, I think that it's not like I'm a big decentralization fan, and I'm obviously there in the crypto space because I believe it changes a lot of things. But I don't think that KYC is against decentralization. You could have like decentralized KYC, right? I mean, it's just the problem is they are using like a centralized KYC system with all its potential flaws, like you're giving so much of your personal data to a company and you don't know what they're going to do with them with that. Obviously you trust them, but like data leaks, data breaches exist. So it's always a risk to do KYC. I'm not exactly sure of who's keeping the data. I think that's probably somewhere in the terms of use and stuff like that. But obviously, like I think that KYC was like a problem on two fronts. I think it was a problem in terms of regulation because once you implement KYC on like a voluntary basis, you're probably saying to the regulator, I'm a gambling platform. I look like a gambling platform because I do exactly as other platforms do, right? And the other problem would be operational problems. I mean, you would have to have like people dedicated to that, support dedicated to that. So it's and also in terms of like the product, it's just way more friction if you want to sign up for Sora, and like you would have to KYC at some point, and maybe they wanted to have like a nice user base with a large community before doing that.
I think one of the things that people don't think about with KYC, and this is just, I'm going back to my pre-sports finance days, but when it comes to KYC, you need somebody checking up on those things, that if somebody fails their KYC or it turns out that they're on a blacklist somewhere, like you have to communicate that to relevant authorities. And it's not like you're just collecting data and letting it sit there. Like you actually have to do something if there's a problem. And you need people therefore you need people who are skilled to know what they're looking for and what to do if they find something. And so there is a little more than just like collecting a bunch of data on people and letting it sit there and then selling their email addresses to anyone else. But I don't know. There's more to it than that, but so we'll see. Atri pointed out nobody cared about KYC when they wanted their jerseys delivered. Did you need to do a full? I didn't get one, but did you need to do like a full KYC with that, or just send an address for them to mail it to you? And what do you think about this? Yeah. Sorare is not a true decentralized platform.
Anyway. It's not, and it's something we have to say. It's like Sorare is Web 2.5. Let's say they are using like some of the Web 3 advantages, but they are not. They are not a Web 3 company. We're not a Web 3 company.
It says it right here.
No, it's not.
It's right there.
I mean, for so many reasons, I could elaborate on that, but I think people will be bored if I explain in details why Sorare isn't a Web3 company. It doesn't mean that they won't be a Web3 company. It just means that right now they're just like selling NFTs, but like they could like use an Excel sheet or a database to like handle NFT transactions. You wouldn't know about it, to be honest. And you can say, yeah, but you can withdraw your NFTs to Ethereum, etc. But at the end of the day, who does that? No one. There's basically no like upside to like do that. So yeah, but I mean, it's not bad to not be a Web3 company. I think it's uh, all the contrary. I think that they've been pragmatic and smart about like taking the good things out of Web3 and trying to like democratize like their NFT fantasy sports, and they did that pretty well. So I mean, like, I'm okay with that.
Since I'm quite ignorant on these sorts of things, how many like true Web3 companies exist that we would know about?
Yeah,
The,
exactly.
well, the reason I'm asking is, what if this is Web3?
No,
And this idea that I feel like we use this term Web3 as what we think everything should be, when in reality, if there are no real companies that are doing this, maybe this is just Web3.
yeah, and that's the whole problem in the crypto ecosystem. You can probably today like at least like name one big AI product, and that's ChatGPT. But you can say Bard, you can say Bing that is doing also some AI. But like one pretty much like one internet user has already used AI products, right? Even your grandma probably used ChatGPT somehow. Crypto, it's nowhere near that, and that's the problem with the crypto. It's still like a small ecosystem, and you did not see like a breakthrough, like a product that was like, oh, it's the first major crypto in the mainstream crypto product. And because there are so many things that are different from a Web 2 company or Web 2 product, that it's going to take a lot of time. And companies like Sorare to actually like change slowly things so that like maybe 5 years from now, you will own completely your NFTs, and so I will not host them for you anymore, and you will be able to play them in many websites like without even asking Sorare about it. And that's the whole vision of Web3. It's like full decentralization. You own your stuff. You go on a website that is uh, like just a website, but you don't store information there. You just bring your wallet and you bring your what you own in your wallet, and that's it. And we're light years away from that, and but it can go pretty fast. I mean, like
Sure.
who predicted that ChatGPT like the ChatGPT effect? No one. So yeah, well, it's definitely not a Web3 company for that reason, and like there's no mainstream Web3. Like maybe let's say exchanges like Coinbase, Binance are your crypto companies, um, because people like speculate on crypto assets.
Yeah, I guess I just struggle to understand what what makes a company officially a Web3 company
It's it's basically a company that doesn't ask you like
that doesn't KYC.
you wouldn't sign up for a Web3 product, right? You would connect your wallet. You would not like say I'm creating an account. No, you would say um I'm connecting my wallet and I'm going to do stuff with your product, but I don't need to send you my email or my name or whatsoever. And that's a real Web3 company.
So did Sorare actually go from Web 2.5 to Web 2.3 because of KYC? Are we moving further away from Web 3?
No, I think that like the main problem for Sorare, like for Sorare to become a Web3 company, they would need like to stop hosting your NFTs. Like
Yeah.
you would like connect a wallet and that's it. And you wouldn't even have an account on Sorare. You
Right.
would
Right.
say, here's my wallet. You would interact with an interface that is adapting to your wallet, but that's it. And that brings so many questions in terms of like adoption, because are you, Andrew, like serious enough to actually store your NFTs yourself, right? And I don't think like Andy Black is serious enough to store his NFTs. No, just kidding.
Yeah. I was
Uh,
gonna say, if there's one person I
he's
know.
probably the right one, but Jimmer, for example, he's probably not the right guy for like storing his own NFTs. I'm just pointing like at people. Um, but even myself, it's so complicated if you don't have the right tools and the right solutions to do that. So the whole ecosystem is also waiting for those tools to happen and to be usable by everyone on the internet.
There's been some chat here between Web3 and AI, and Sora Holland says, "I want AI to pick my weekly lineups." This is why you have a SorareData membership, though. So the suggested lineups just do it for you. You can already have something else pick your lineups for you. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's we don't want to. So I know Clement is in the chat. I know he would gladly say that that the lineup builder is AI, but I don't want to say that. But it's basically that.
Yeah. Oh, he says here, I'm not sure we can call the algorithm AI.
Yeah, but I think like we don't have enough marketing people yet, so we don't have enough people to say no. We should say it's AI. No, but it's so complex. Look at that. It's just great. But no, it's not really AI.
Hmm. We need to figure out some sort of marketing with Web3 and AI together. Oh, Germ is right here. The button, meaning the one click, all your lineups. That would be AI.
Yeah, I mean, but like basically, I think that just saying everything is AI right now will like somehow at some point be a problem for everyone using AI, but not really using it. Say they use AI, but they don't really do that. So I prefer like saying the truth. You're using good old algorithms that are designed by a pretty good product owner, and that's already enough.
Andy Black, machine learning AI lineup building. Now we're starting to get into the real way to convince people to give us money.
Yeah,
Just
I
good
would be.
technology catchphrases.
No, but to be honest, I think that at some point we will launch an effort with dedicated people on that and do a real like study of like, is it really something that we want to do, or is it something that is efficient, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but until then, I mean, we're just doing algorithms, right?
I like this comment from Hey Eagle FN. I think at this point, if Sorare tries to be a Web3 company, they'll be missing out on a lot of new people that Web3 will scare off, which I think is why we're here with talking about cash wallets. Like there was just Sorare's growth plans were, I think their growth plans were initially dependent on significantly faster crypto adoption. And it looks like that is not happening anytime soon, realistically. And so I don't know if at the beginning they were like, hey, at some point we're going to need cash wallets, but it clearly got to a point where the crypto adoption is just not there. And you can get as many people as possible who are very comfortable with crypto. But at the end of the day, you can't keep growing fast enough because there are enough people who just don't care or don't understand crypto, don't want to understand crypto. And you need those people to play.
Exactly. And about that cash wallet, I've seen like a survey on Twitter of like a French community survey. So what currency are you using to evaluate the price of a coin? Are you using ETH or are you using dollars, I guess, for you?
I have been looking at limiteds in dollars and everything else in ETH, and I haven't had a reason to change yet. I don't expect a limited to change, but the I think it's going to go in waves on the currency. Excuse me, on the scarcity. Like I think rares will be all US or all fiat at some point, and then the super rares, and then I don't even look at uniques, but I think that it feels like there are fewer people who come into the game and progress to buying super rares and uniques quickly. And I don't know why I just assume those people are more comfortable with ETH, but it just feels like they are, at least the ones on the platform. And every new user that comes on, 95 out of 100 will have no interest at all in ETH. And even those 5 who do will just use fiat anyway.
Okay. I think like, so the survey results were very interesting. So do you know what I voted for?
What were the options? Like
ETH
which one
or
you, I think
fiat?
you're going to use,
ETH,
I
fiat.
think, I think you will continue to think in ETH.
Well, I did not say that.
I think you're lying to yourself.
No, I think I'm not. I think like I finally like. No, I think we'll slowly but surely get rid of ETH, and that like everyone, like basically you have no incentive to think about ETH, right? Like to think
Right?
like in ETH for valuations, because like if you only have an ETH wallet, you're out of the cash market, right? So, and in the new onboarding process, from what I understand, you're going to be presented with the option of a cash wallet, but you're not going to be like incentivized with the option of an ETH wallet, right?
Right.
So, like, you could argue that for new users until yesterday, they could like think about ETH and not think about like fiat. But like now, every new user will be thinking about fiat and fiat only, because that's the only thing that is going to be shown to them. So I mean, you can struggle with the change as long as you want, but it's going to happen anyway. It's going to happen because the new wave of users,
Yeah.
and probably the next like million of users, if we go to a million users, is going to think about their cards in cash and not ETH. So long ETH, thanks for your service, but we're done with you.
So I believed, and I told people that I thought within a year, ETH would basically be gone from the platform and that we would all
Yeah.
be using fiat. And since the introduction of the cash wallet yesterday, I think it will be gone by December. Like I don't think we'll even
Oh,
make it to the
so
end of the year. Like it's going to be so
why?
much faster than I thought.
Yeah. So why ETH isn't going to disappear is because, well, think about all those whales like
Mm-hmm.
using their ETH that they've won on the markets, on the crypto markets or whatsoever. I think they cannot get rid of ETH totally just because
No,
of that.
yeah. No, I didn't really mean get rid of it. It will always be there, and I do think it'll still be like I would absolutely believe that 95% of unique transactions, meaning for unique cards, still happen in ETH.
Yeah.
And maybe it's 50-50 with super rares. Maybe it's 75% still use ETH, but rares and limiteds, I don't think anyone will be using ETH by the end of this year.
Or using, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's right. And also, we're in a pretty. I've seen a comment saying that like that ETH, if ETH is stable, um, you can also like still think with ETH, but I think that like once the bull market or the bear market resumes, it's going to be cash and cash only. I think you don't want to think about like ETH. But I think that you want to get your rewards in ETH. I
I
mean,
I was actually
it's
thinking the other way. I don't want to fund a cash wallet. So if I can get cash on the site that way, I'll take it through rewards and sales.
so you're taking cash rewards, not ETH
Right.
rewards.
I still have it set for ETH, and I will end up having a situation where I'll think I don't want to spend any cash on this, but whatever card I want is cash
Yeah.
only, and I'm going to think I should just switch, and I will like I know it's going to happen, but I refuse to like do it preemptively. But I do think I will end up switching.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. I think that well, it's not financial advice, obviously, but I myself, I do believe in the potential, in the upside with ETH, and I think that it's probably a good idea to stop using your ETH wallet and just use your cash wallet for card purchases, etc., and just use your ETH wallet to store like rewards you've won, like ETH rewards you won, and just profit on that. Obviously, you don't progress that much in the game, but or you could do 50-50 or something like that, like sell 50%. I mean, the problem right now is you don't have conversion on the platform. That's some kind of an issue. But once we get that, I hope we will get that. I think you should keep some of that ETH in a safe box or in your ETH wallet.
Well, the way that I think I'm going to look at it is less about cash rewards or ETH. Are they just calling them cash reward? Whatever the non-card rewards are, thresholds, and if I happen to get it high enough, but I would take those in cash, but I would basically be open to selling cards in either currency, and that's how I just accumulate both. I think I don't ever see myself. Well, that's not true. Hold on. It will take me a while before I'm like, I don't need any more ETH. And if I want ETH, I can go somewhere else and buy some. I don't need to get it necessarily from Sorare. And so I thought it would literally be within a year. I think I'll always have a little bit of ETH just in case, but I don't know. I just don't see the upside meaning I don't see the upside in terms of Sorare in holding ETH. If I wanted to, buy
exactly.
ETH, I could just go buy it.
No, exactly. It's true. So that's why I was suggesting like you could do a 50-50 split, like saying
Sure.
like I'll keep 50% of my ETH in the ETH wallet, of my ETH rewards in the ETH wallet, and just waiting for ETH to like to be worth a bit more. But yeah, I could be totally wrong, and it could be like $1 in a year. So I don't know. I'm just saying it's also a nice decision to have. Like, should you keep ETH rewards or cash rewards? I'll be keeping ETH rewards, that's for sure.
Can we like change that preference like every game week if we wanted to?
I think so. Yeah, I don't see
And
why you couldn't.
I wonder when
You
we have to decide. Meaning,
well, I think like I think they say that at some place.
yeah, like if I wanted
In
like
some place.
weekends, I want ETH. Midweeks, I want cash, as if I win cash every week. But if I can just change all the time, then yeah, the 50. My thought was like if they tell you like you can only change like your Sorare handle, you can only change every 3 months. Like, do we know what that is?
No, I think to them it's pretty painless. It's like they just have to credit ETH or cash. I think that they want to have like something pretty stable so that they don't like play with their ETH treasury and their cash treasury a lot. But I think that's no big deal for them.
Okay. What do you think about the fact that the opinion that the market cannot be liquid if half take ETH rewards? I don't think that many people will take it, but
why is that?
I just don't think there are going to be enough people dealing in ETH that you're going to want to hold ETH, at least for the purposes of using it in the market.
No, I think you have to use a cash wallet anyway. But I mean, to me, the only thing that is missing is a conversion feature on the platform, and then you can like readjust your wallets pretty easily, right? So that's the only issue I have with the cash wallet right now. But I would say it's I don't think I'm going to deposit cash on Sorare, but if I do, it's going to be pretty weird once I do that. I mean, it's like, wow, kind of like I don't want to do that.
I have no intention of depositing cash on Sorare.
Yeah, you have to, because you will need those fitness bonuses, and you will have to pay for those.
I'll just use Google Pay.
Oh,
like I don't see myself holding a cash balance that I deposited onto Sorare. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
I think I will hold a cash balance from thresholds, and if I sell cards, so be it. But I don't see myself holding cash on. I say this on Sorare, but I actually have no idea who's holding the cash. Mango Pay, I assume.
I have no idea. To be honest, I don't really care, right?
Well, I've had a few people comment about that they're like, who is actually holding your cash and what happens if they disappear?
Yeah, but that's fair, but it's going to be Sorare's problem, not well, you could assess like if you want to actually deposit cash based on the Sorare's provider, right? That's correct. But at the end of the day, if the provider fails, it's going to be on Sorare's hands to actually deal with that, not you directly with the provider. Well, I guess.
I think, well, so the conversation I was part of was somebody who is very much here for ETH and for crypto and doesn't want to rely on traditional banks. So the question was, if let's say you sell a card for $5,000, you hit it big, you get this $5,000 card, you sell it for fiat, and whatever bank that holds our cash goes bankrupt. Who is responsible for getting you your $5,000?
I mean, don't think about that. No, but I guess that's true. That's correct. I mean, but I feel like it's not my job to actually figure it out, and I'll just like complain to Sorare and just say, like, fix it. Like, no one is going to say, oh, but Sorare did not do anything wrong. It's the problem is the provider, right? No one is going to say that. Sorare has a responsibility to choose the right provider and to actually make sure that like the cash of their client is okay.
Atra was saying how many people have thought about this for the ETH either. Fair. But like it's easier for you to like custody your own ETH as opposed to calling Mango Pay and being like, I want my cash so I can put it in my literal physical wallet.
No, and that's true. That's a valid concern. But I mean, it all depends on, do we see a conversion feature anytime soon? Because if you do, you just deposit ETH, converts if you need cash to buy a card, and that's it. And you can like old ETH, and if you receive cash from another sale, you can convert it to ETH, and that's it. And I think that's the right way to go. But if we go back on what we said previously, and if we think that they want to get rid of ETH at some point, that means that we're probably not going to see that happen, right?
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think about the dual wallet? Like you were just saying, like, do you think it's realistic that we have a solution in terms of converting fiat to ETH on platform?
Yeah. So first, I would say that it's not like on the dual wallet, just like selling the SorareData product for a second. It was not an easy change for us. It broke some stuff. Obviously, our objective is to have like the market pages being like running as smoothly as possible. We'll be introducing some changes on the interfaces. So on my mobile app now, mobile app that you will have probably tomorrow or on over the next few days, I don't see ETH anymore. I just have cash price, like floors, valuations, even like rewards. It's just cash, and that's great. I mean, I kind of enjoy the feeling like not having to do the conversion anymore and just say, well, they already have that, but well, no,
That's true.
that's
They already
cash
have that.
but that's cash only. Yeah, right. So yeah, I mean, it was a pretty big change. I've seen like some of the bots using the Sorare API struggling a bit. I wish them good luck, but obviously props to the dev team at SorareData. Also props to the dev teams at Sorare for also like helping us on that. Thanks a lot. So yeah, it's if you see some bugs and if you see some changes, no worries. We'll try to make it like as smooth as possible, but it's not that simple. What was the question again? Sorry.
About the ability to convert ETH to cash or vice versa on platform, like on Sorare.
I mean, it has to happen I mean, it will happen if they want to keep ETH on the platform. If they don't, it will never happen. And I think that because they didn't launch it at first, they don't consider it as like a critical feature. And like people will complain about it at first and then will stop complaining because they will complain about fitness bonuses. And so they will be like, oh, but that's not a huge concern anymore. So, and we're okay with like getting rid of ETH and like going back to fiat. And so we are not going to do that.
Do you think if there is enough of a push where they cannot get rid of ETH, I assume that it's less about Sorare becoming some sort of exchange and actually Sorare partnering with an exchange that does it for them, but it happens to do it on Sorare's web app.
So
if that happens, where we'll get the opportunity to be like, yes, you can convert your fiat to ETH. If they do it with an exchange, Binance, Coinbase, whoever, does that open up the possibility that we could actually go beyond ETH and be like, oh, you can buy something with any other cryptocurrency that is available on those exchanges?
I don't think that's that simple. And I don't think they want that actually.
Okay.
But let me go back on like that on what you said. And it's pretty interesting because you could argue that Sorare was an exchange before that day, because when you were buying cards on the auction on the primary market, you were paying with your credit card with cash, and you would like bid in ETH. And when they allowed you to actually buy and that was the whole problem with like credit card frauds, etc. It's like you could steal a credit card, spend the money on Sorare, get ETH instantly, like also buy a card on the secondary market, sell that card for like a 20% discount, get that ETH back, and sell it on the market. And so they stopped doing that because obviously some banks told them though what the F are you doing?
Yeah.
And so it's basically like it stopped them from like opening bank accounts in some countries, and I would say rightfully so. And I don't think they want to do that anymore. I think they want to have like some kind of exchange on the platform that would be integrated in the platform, but that they would not actually operate the exchange.
Right. I remember I was going to look it up, but I'm actually too lazy. You and I and Andy did a show when I was at RotoWire. I think it was called the Currency Bundle. We talked all about that. And we talked about ETH and Fiat. And I basically knew nothing about ETH at the time. Now I know like this much. But I remember saying to you guys, like, I don't, Andy's right, it was 100 years ago. In Sorare time, it was definitely 100 years ago. I was like, no, I don't deal with ETH at all. I've bought cards on my credit card. I see it on my credit card statement. I see on the site how much I spent in dollars. And I was like, there's no ETH here at all. And you were like, no. You just got the ETH from Sorare and then used that to buy the card. And I was like, no, and then I just sat there and I was like, but also, was I actually buying ETH from Sorare, or was I paying Sorare and they were using their ETH to buy me a card and sending whatever it was? There was a lot more ETH than I thought there was. And now it's gone. Now we don't have to worry about it. But you're right. It does feel like that is fundamentally, they are an exchange.
Yeah, they were, but I think that they they somehow came to the conclusion that it wasn't probably a good idea to do that. So I mean, yeah. But I mean, I'm pretty surprised that they could launch that that cash wallet that easy, and like it's not something that they've done like, like under the radar, and only the Sorare community like knows about that. They like talked to the press about it because they released press articles about it like on Monday, spoiling the surprise for everyone. And so they want the word out. Like they want people to be aware that now you can buy cards and you can manage your cash on Sorare directly, right? And so, I mean, oh my God, you won. They fixed the price pool for you.
I'm so angry.
But how does it feel right now?
I'm like somewhat filled with rage by the initial response and subsequent answer. That's like, I wish I felt good and all of this, but I actually like legitimate rage right now.
Are you like disappointed that they did not mention that, like, thanks to Andrew Laird?
Yeah, no, no. That would be funny. No, so like Blue Tomato said, where is that? Where did that go? It took them long enough to realize it. They didn't realize it. Like we told them. And I was told I was wrong. Like that's actually what bothered me. That they were like, no, you are wrong. I was like, okay, I'm
So
wrong.
like tell me about it. I like seen the tweets, but like did not like study the thing that much further. So what happened exactly?
So I admit that I don't like doing this. I realize there are a lot of people like contact Sorare this way
And
and
us
complain
the
about
same way.
things.
And I don't like it at all. Like when people like just send a tweet saying, "Hey, that thing is wrong." I mean, like, just there's a support address, just like send an email.
Yes, which I should have done, but I decided not to. And I went public with it because I thought it would be helpful if everyone saw the answer, which you tend not to get with random emails. So, but anyway, the only thing I wanted to understand, because I didn't think I thought it was wrong. I thought the America prize pool felt low, like the number of prizes for the number of cards that were in the number of licensed teams and players and all this, whatever it was. And this was 2 weeks ago. And I was basically told, no, it's right. And I was like, okay, like It's your game, your rules. I get it. Whatever.
But
And
like
I
wrong in like it
way
was
too
it
low,
pos okay,
way
so
too low.
negative for the player, right? Okay.
Yes. And my theory, which I discussed with a few people, maybe somebody else pointed out to me, but I'm going to take credit for this, is that they were not counting the Leagues Cup matches as Champion America matches. Even though we
Sure.
went through this whole thing that they're counted and all this stuff, and you can use them in an MLS amateur and all this stuff. And it wasn't until this weekend, game week, midweek, whatever, that I guess, let me see here, game week 394 and 395, that Challenger Europe had like a third or a half of the licensed teams playing, but almost double the rewards as Champion America. And I was like, this just fundamentally to me doesn't make sense. That you have the list of America teams was this big, and the list of Challenger teams was this big, and the rewards were the opposite. And I was told that the reason that the Challenger rewards were so high is because they were counting matches that weren't being scored. But it was more we don't know if they're going to be scored, so we're going to err on the side of caution, boost the rewards for everyone. And if they end up not getting covered, well, we're just giving out extra rewards. But that didn't make any sense to me either, because the number of teams was still way higher in America. And I just don't know what changed for them. They claim it's a consequence of a data issue. I don't know what data they're using. Like, I understand that they're not going to be 100% transparent on what makes them calculate rewards. Like, and frankly, I don't want to know, because when they first started talking about, I mean, this was a long time ago, they were like, this is exactly how it works. And then within one game week, someone was like, so your math is off. And they were like, okay, we're going to change it, but we're not going to tell you, which, like, fine. But like, fundamentally, the way that we are supposed to understand this is, if there are more teams playing and more licensed teams playing, there should be more rewards. And this literally was the exact opposite. And so I just was curious what happened. And we'll blame the data. Maybe it was a display bug, surely. That's all.
So two things. So I think the first thing would be like, it's probably, so they probably talked about this internally. Maybe the tech guy in charge, I'm just speculating right here, but that would make sense to me. The tech guy in charge of that was saying, basically, as I like most of the time say, no way, it's wrong. I'm sure we're all fine. I'm sure that works well. And so they were like, okay, well, we're good. But like, feedback kept on coming, and they were like, maybe something is wrong. And they said, can you make sure that it's actually okay? And oh, well, I forgot that this line of code was doing that. And oh,
So you're unfortunately missing a step, because there was the first like, hey, is this wrong? And they were like, and they went to the guy who was in charge, and they were like, no, it's right. And they were like, okay. So they came back and they were like, it's right. And then it was like, hey, here's some data. Can you look at that? And then they all looked at it and they were like, looks fine to us. And then I went back again, and now it's like, oh, wait, maybe we forgot something.
Yeah, I mean,
my lineup's crap anyway, so it doesn't matter.
But you're fighting the good fight for other people, right?
I don't want to fight about it, but I wanted some clarity, and instead I was given nothing other than that, like, I was wrong, and maybe I'm still wrong. To be honest, I might still be wrong, but they found something that makes it at least look like maybe I'm right.
And second thing I wanted to mention is that would never happen if they told people, hey, I'm a tech guy, so blaming the tech guy makes sense, right? But that would never happen if they had somehow at some like place a clear explanation that, well, a clear but complex explanation of what how do we compute like price pools. And it's not industrial secret to have like the formula of like how many cards we're actually distributing, and you're still able to say that can change, but like as of today, what we do, except specific cases that we would communicate on, we do this. And so you would be able, Andrew, with your Excel sheets and your SorareData database, to recompute those things and say, well, I think that's wrong, but let me do the work. And you do the work, and somehow you figure it out, and you discover that it's correct or wrong. But at least you don't have to go on Twitter and say, "Hey, I think that's wrong." You're not even sure that's wrong, but like you have a good intuition that it's probably not the right implementation, right? And and you wait for 2 days until like you get like an official answer and a correction. I think that it's not that difficult to be transparent about that, and and they could be dynamic. I don't care how dynamic those rewards are. Just say how you build your price pools.
Yeah, so I'm actually looking. Let's see. So the announcement is actually about prize pools for this. Is it this midweek? Is that what 394 is? Yeah, so it's this midweek. Maybe that's the one I complained about, to be honest. I can't even remember at this point. I don't really feel like going back. But I do think that they should have some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Dynamism, basically. Like they should have the ability to like boost rewards if they want. Meaning like, hey, this week we were going to give away 500 here, but we're going to do 550 because we just feel like it. It's our company, we can do it. But I do feel like there should be some sort of minimum that makes it understandable. Like again, I was not asking for the formula, and I don't really care. I mean, I don't care, because if they were like, yes, we'll do it, then we would check every week. Like that, we would do that. If we had the exact formula, either we would do it or somebody would do it, and they would be like, this is how many rewards you should have.
Sure.
And I'm okay with not knowing. What I was not okay with was that we were basically told, the little bit that we were told was more teams, more rewards, or more games, more rewards. And that just didn't happen this week. Like it fundamentally, like you were like, there are this many games and this many rewards. Why is that the case?
Yeah. And I mean, just like reading the comments in the chat, like we've been told for months it was very, very depending on licensed team there. I mean, I don't give a shit on how like on like what's the dependency or what's not. Just tell me, how do you do it? Just
Yes.
do not have like someone from your team tweeting with their personal account about something at some point, like that might be a particular situation, and then another one from their personal account saying something else. Just have like an official documentation saying, here's how we do it. Or if you don't want people to actually complain about it, you just say, we do it as we want to do them, and it's at our own discretion, and they're dynamic as like we decide them to be dynamic. Like it just but the middle ground is always the worst, because if you don't do it well, people will complain, and will complain based on like things they've heard about, like, oh, I've heard that some content creator said once that it was like dynamic based on what, I don't know. Just have official documentation.
Yeah, it is kind of a weird, because it's we're either asking for full transparency or none.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Yeah, but the middle transparency, the partial transparency, excuse me, is when we all get angry, because it's like, because we're just told nobody likes to be told they're wrong, like both sides.
Yeah, exactly.
So like when they told me I was wrong, and I was like, well, what am I wrong about? And they were like, you're just wrong. And I'm like, okay, but like I wanted to understand, because if this was the case, then like at least allow me to understand. But instead it was just like you don't get it. And I was like, okay.
And I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, for Sorare employees doing the dirty work on Twitter and like having to answer to people like saying, so Fields also said today, like was talking about like the challenger prize pools that were apparently like, I don't know, too
They were
too
too high.
large.
Yeah.
Yeah, too large, like past game week. I mean, who knows? He might be correct, he might be wrong. uh we don't know, but it's like, I would be Paul. I would be like, screw this. I'm not answering anyone, and I'm just going to sit there and just like do my job and not like allow like random people on the internet like saying that what we do is actually wrong. And I'm not even sure Paul is working. He might be on vacation right now,
Yeah.
and he has to deal with morons on the internet saying like, and I'm saying morons like effectively, right? Uh, like, yeah, and that's an awful position to be in. So just like make sure everyone is happy. Just send an official documentation.
So one of the replies from my question about whether the America prize pool was too small, because I was comparing it to the Challenger one, was the America one is right. And if the America one is right, based on the number of teams, then the Challenger one was way too high. And so the response was, do you want us to lower that one now? And I was like, you really, really, really do not want to do that. Like, not because of the rewards at all. But like,
No,
but when you say like, hey, there are 100 rewards now and everybody makes their lineups, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, by the way, it's 30. But also, I'm not even going to go keep doing that. But the other one is they really, really, really have to stop replying to tweets with relevant information from non-official Twitter accounts. Like we don't use I really try not to have like the SorareData Twitter account be like a support stream, because we can't handle that accurately. But now with Zora and Paul like replying to tweets, and everyone's like, hey, I have this question, and somebody's like, no, this is the answer. And like, well, how do you know that? And it's like, oh, there was a tweet from Paul. And it's like, they're extremely helpful, but it's also like that itself is not helpful. And I just hope that they stop that. This is not even close to where I thought we were ending up today. Sorry.
no, but I agree with that, and I think that the sad thing is that Zero and Paul are really great guys. I know them like from like multiple encounters and are great guys and just want to do like well.
Sure.
And when you're taking time off your vacation to actually answer that means that you care. But obviously, I mean, they're like not responsible for the flows that like a lack of documentation brings. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, just write a documentation and say that's the game rules. Everything is covered here, and that's it. And if you don't, you can say, and I've seen other NFT games saying we do this and it's our own discretion and we decide everything and we don't really care about your input on that. And that's fine, because if you have like decisions that are made by a community because they are sending too many negative feedback, or too many feedback, it doesn't have to be negative. It's, you don't also like move forward, and they need to move forward, and they need like to like also just say that's how it's done, and that's it.
Yeah. The like, I'm thinking of DFS games where nobody knows what the prize pools are going to be before they open. And so like when with any sport, I happen to think of like DraftKings and FanDuel, but like the only way you find out what the prize pool is when they release it, which is the same way we do with Sorare. Like we don't know how many rewards are going to be in Challenger next week. We just know when they release it. And not only that, it's like you get the total prize pool, how much comes to first place, how much goes to fifth. And Sorare is the same. We wait until they open the game week, but there's zero expectation, at least on the DFS side, that we can figure out what the prize pool is going to be. And Sorare gave us like again, they gave us like half transparency of this is what it's based on. And then when it looks wrong, we're told we're wrong because of the stuff that they didn't tell us, which like, fine. Like if that's the case, then that's fine. But that wasn't actually the response. The response is like, you're wrong. And it's like, okay, please let me understand why I'm wrong. And if the answer is because of the stuff that we did not tell you, okay, that's fine. We have a rule that in game weeks that are divisible by 17, we cut rewards in half. We're not going to tell you that, but like that's how we keep our supply. And I'm like, okay, you do you. I'll keep playing the game. I get it, but
yeah. And also, I think that it's very helpful in those situations where there's like an obvious mistake and you want to deal with it. But it's also very interesting for like newcomers to understand how the game works, and also people that have been here quite some time, like to understand what's the reasoning behind like the rules. Because if you say, well, we have to make sure that our card supply is stable and we don't distribute that many cards, so that's why we do that for our prize pool. I mean, it's like for people that want to get into that stuff, it's nice to read and to discover, and also like to plan ahead. I think that like a lot of instances like we've seen like people complain about the fact that the game changed like without any like kind of notice, and saying like, well, I thought we were going to get like that division open, but finally, well, it's not going to be open, or stuff like that. And I think like the more transparent you are and the more like documentation you actually write, I mean, it's so much better.
There also seems to be this unwritten thing that rewards are more plentiful. Like in the next few weeks, we should be getting new Europe cards, Eredivisie, Jupiler, like all of them. We should be getting new ones. And it always feels like in those times, the prize pools are just blasted up. And it just seems like they're just rewarding so many cards. And at the end of the season, they're like, we don't have any left. So rewards are down. But nobody's really figuring that out. But we also don't know if the prize pools at the end of September, let's call it, are boosted versus end of April. We just kind of assume. I'm sure we can go back and look. I mean, it's all like everything is available to look at, but it just feels like Sorare is going out of their way to tell us parts of it and letting us trust them on the rest.
I mean, I would say I admired the guy from the people like going on the Discord and saying we were kind of wrong, we changed stuff, and that's it. I mean, at least they did that, because you could have said, well, I'm not going to change shit. I don't want to be disturbed by people like just like complaining all the time, and that would be like
they absolutely could
somehow.
So
I mean, props to also like doing the right thing and changing stuff at the right time.
You're right. They definitely deserve credit for that.
Yeah, now rewards are wrong on SD Live leaderboards, and that at the end of the day, who is affected by that? Us. We should complain.
That's really why I was complaining. It had nothing to do with my own gallery. I just knew that this was going to be switched and we'd have more work to do. Not me, of course, but everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, we'll change that. No worries. Blame the tech guy. Exactly. I mean, it's you should do that like pretty much 100% of the time. I mean,
that's what I do.
Tech guys are paid more than everyone else. They're responsible for bugs. if something goes wrong, it's probably because of the tech guy. I mean, like Paul isn't responsible for showing price pools on the website, right? So the people responsible for showing the price pools on the website are the tech guys, and they should be blamed for that.
I had no ill will towards Paul or Zora. I know they were just the messengers.
No, I mean again, they do their best, and and they care a lot about the community and the game. So I would never be mad at them for that. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm pretty like result oriented, and if it's like fixed, I'm fine with that.
Before I say anything, I don't mean to say thank you to everybody for joining us. If you could please like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you for joining. I'm off next week. I'm going to see what happens about all that.
Oh, Sean and Maxime, the second edition.
I had a feeling that was going to be requested, so the keys will be handed over at least for one show. So back next week, Sean and Maxime get to just blame the content guy for everything. There are some other videos that are going to be going up next week, though, kind of similar to what happened 2 weeks ago. So that'll be there. So thank you to everybody for joining us, and good luck with those Champion America